Welcome into the studio, Conservative Fear, former Cabinet Office Minister and former Chief Brexit negotiator, Lord Frost, into the studio. A very good morning, Shisa.
Great to be here.
Where do we start today? First question, in relation in particular to Graham Linehan, the comedy writer, creator of Father Ted and numerous other hit comedy shows, IT Project and others, being arrested as he stepped off a plane at Heathrow Airport to come back for a court case on Thursday by 5 armed police officers over 3 tweets about trans activists, none of which I think with anyone with any understanding of the law stand up to scrutiny as being in any way criminal. I mean, the best you can manage is, you know, if a man enters a woman's only space like a toilet, or punch him in the cojones. I mean, which is, as one of our callers just pointed out, is actually the advice he gave his daughter in such a scenario. Will he be arrested now as well? Do we still have free speech?
Well, I don't think we have had free speech for a long time, actually, and you know the police have obviously acted sort of absurdly in this case, completely disproportionately. It's ridiculous.
But it's not the first time, and it's not the last.
It's not the first time it's happened, and the reason for that is that we've got a lot of laws on the statute book that restrain free speech. We actually have a Communications Act, 2003 Communications Act, which criminalises sending a grossly offensive message. So
I mean, I send those in my WhatsApp all the time.
Of course, some people have been prosecuted for doing it and even sent to prison for it. So the problem is that we've got laws that criminalise quite a lot of things. You're leaving it to the discretion of the police, motivated by activists, as to who they go after. And this is why you get cases like this. We need to clean up our free speech law. That is the real underlying problem here, I think.
And that's when we got the Prime Minister Keir Starmer meeting with Donald Trump when he was in Scotland recently and having to defend, oh no, we've got a long history of free speech here, President. It's like, well, yeah, we do have a long history of free speech and it's all being undermined. That said, it was your lot allowed a lot of this to happen. The mad trans activism ideology grew from like really 2012 was when it really started hitting people's actual lives. You know, Tories were in charge all of that time. There was a lot of hand-wringing about it, but no one actually did anything about it. But it's almost gone to the point when, you know, women, you know, in this scenario, you know, he's been, Graham Linehan, I hold a torch for him. A, he's just a lovely soul.
Yeah.
And B, he is a man who did not choose this battle, but went into bat for women, lost his career, lost his income, lost his home, lost his family, lost everything, lost his friends in showbiz, who weren't real friends, it turns out, to stand up for women's safety and women's rights. And I think we all owe a duty of thanks and care to him as women to say thank you. And he's just a genuinely lovely man. He writes some heated things on social media. But you know what? If you'd lost all of that just for saying, but men who think they're women aren't women and they shouldn't be in women's spaces or be in women's sports teams, I don't think that any of us would not have frankly gone to that place. But the reality is there is an expectation now that trans identified people, the activists for that cause and that trans ideology they're like some protected species, but women and anyone speaking out on this are not.
Yeah, I mean, we had hoped that this Supreme Court ruling might start to kind of sort of puncture the balloon and take some of the heat out of this, and for a time it seemed like that. I'm not sure that it is, actually.
No, I said on the day I didn't think it was going to end it.
In some ways it's kind of strengthened, you know, the wish of one side of this argument to keep forcing it. And part of the problem is so much of our public service is not just the police, but a lot of the rest of it. They've just kind of absorbed these ideas over the years. You can tell when you hear them using activist language, as the police did to Graham Linehan. It's going to be really difficult to root this stuff out.
But you were in government. This was all over the civil service as well. It's all part of the whole culture. This is absolutely. It's in the civil service. It's in Parliament. Many MPs. It's the whole. You know, it's in the media. Yeah. This is. You say it's in the police. It's in the judiciary. This is just all. You know, women in court being told, for goodness sake, to refer to their rapist or sexual assaulter as she and her, because miraculously he suddenly decided his name is Deborah that day. I mean, this is obscene and an outrageous attack on fundamental freedoms. I mean, we can't be marking like VE Day and VJ Day and saying how wonderful it is, these wonderful men who fought for our freedoms, when you're arresting people at the airport for writing tweets about trans activism.
No, the whole thing is mad. We need a free speech law that, you know, makes it clear when you are committing an offence, which for me would be clear cases of incitement and hardly
American
anything
First
else.
Amendment style,
Something
you have
like
a
that,
clear indication that there was been immediate and serious risk of harm coming
Yeah,
to
exactly,
someone.
something like that. I mean, the problem is, I mean, it's a good thing, but we don't have a written constitution, so you can't give it constitutional authority in the same way. Right. But we could pass a law, we could get politicians to kind of rhetorically enforce it. Part of the problem has been Keir Starmer kind of encouraging the police to go after people until yesterday who say so-called offensive or difficult things, and I don't think our politicians should be doing that.
It is extraordinary. Graham Linehan, you know, being arrested by police, and yet we've got the new elected deputy leader of the Green Party, Mohsen Ali, who is on record on October the 7th, while people, children, women and men were being you know, horrifically killed, set on fire, women were being gang raped. That he defended that attack and talked about it being a Hamas fight back. Yeah. Not a problem. Not only is he not arrested for that, and he's entitled to think that mad, awful, terrible thing. He's now elected the deputy leader of a national party.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've arrested, they've appointed this guy yesterday. What's his name? Zach Polansky. Yeah, who, you know, seems to have very strong opinions on the Palestine question, amongst other things, on trans issues. As you say, he was on Newsnight, I think, last night, saying he thought the police.
You watched Newsnight? I didn't know people did that.
I saw it on Twitter this morning.
Sorry, okay.
Obviously. You know, saying he thought the police acted correctly in the Linehan affair. In a way, it's good that, you know, the Greens have chosen this person.
Yes, well, of course, that is a man.
Reveal what they are really.
He used to work as a psychotherapist and used to tell women that they can think their breasts bigger. Yes. We'll come on to that a little bit later. That's a bit of a fun one. I mean, there we are. I mean, is the answer to everything, all the problems in our country, giving everybody digital ID? Because that seems to be what the government say they're looking at. We know it's something that Tony Blair was obsessed with, and has been looked at by the Tory government over the years as well. Whenever there's a problem, if in doubt, the answer is nearly always a national identity card. There is nothing for which that is not the issue. We're told that that could help us tackle not just illegal migrants wanting to arrive in this country, but also their ability to work in the black market economy. Will it?
I don't see why it will. Anybody who
We're trying to work it out.
I mean, anybody who comes to this country on a visa, it has the proof of their status. It's in the visa, it's in the passport. They have a bit of paper that says whether they can work or not and under what conditions
can ask for.
They can ask for. If they don't do that, and it seems like quite a few may not do that, then why are they going to ask for a digital ID?
I think you may have spotted the flaw in this.
I don't know
this
why.
assumption that people who've been employing all these illegal migrants working illegally on the, you know, in cash, paying them below minimum wage, no national insurance, no tax and all of that, will suddenly go, oh, but I need to ask for a digital ID card.
Absolutely.
Do they know what a nonsense this is when they suggest this?
I don't really know. I think people who've worked in government all the time, you know, bizarrely often have a sort of exaggerated belief in what government can do and how good it is at running things. And that I certainly don't have that.
Is this about tackling illegal migration, or is it, which it won't do, or is this about control? Because look, I'm somebody who many years ago would have gone, look, I don't know what your issue is. You know, you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. But gradually over the years realised, oh no, I don't have anything to hide, but I do have something to fear, including, you know, when in lockdown, and we saw how you know, whether your health records could be used, and otherwise I thought perfectly normal people demanding that people be banned from work, banned from travel, banned from public places. This is very dangerous, scary territory.
Everybody seems to have forgotten what happened during the pandemic, and you know, the problem is that digital ID is, as you say, it's an instrument of control by the government. If you've got the conditions for digital ID, what it allows you to do, what it doesn't, can be changed overnight. We saw that with the vaccine passports, so-called. That was the issue I resigned over in the end.
And fair play to you, sir.
You know, it is a way of authorising citizens to do things, and it can be done remotely, and the conditions can be changed and expanded.
And as we saw the rules then, the health secretary just wave his hand or just get a message in his WhatsApp and he could change the rules.
That's right. You know, you will need, you know, if we go down this road, you'll need to produce biometrics, you'll need to produce your digital ID to do all sorts of perfectly normal things. And at each stage, everyone will say, well, what's the problem? We already do it for this. Why shouldn't we do it for this? And before we know it, we'll be living in this sort of controlled dystopia where if you fall into bad odour with the state, then your life becomes extremely difficult.
If you've, for instance, had some political views or posted some views online which the state doesn't like, they can restrict you.
Yes, exactly. Or, you know, why should they not restrict you if you're a bit overweight from buying certain kinds of food? You have to put your ID in when you're at the supermarket, whatever.
That's what they want to do.
A lot of people do want to do this, and the problem is this isn't China. You know, this isn't about sort of totalitarian, you know, repression of the population. It's a bunch of people who think they know best. They believe they're acting for everybody's good, and they won't stop because they think they're doing the right thing. They don't think they're doing
keeping us safe. They're looking after us. But again, that's the same argument is always used, isn't it? It's always about our own. It's for our own good, for our own safety.
That's right. And if you're willing to give up freedom for a bit more safety, then you know we turn into a different society.
In 2020, people absolutely are, and that's what scares the living daylights out of me.
That's right. I really feared at times during the pandemic that we were not going to dig ourselves out of it.
Tell me about it. I still have
luckily we did. And for all the mistakes Boris made at different stages out of that, he did actually puncture the bubble in the end.
Only because he thought he was going to lose his job. No, sorry, he doesn't get any credit for me.
Maybe.
No, just finally, I want to ask you about the budget. We've got the date for the budget overnight for 26th of November. It's going to be Rachel Reeves' second budget. I would say her final budget. No one is looking forward to it. This is not going to be good news for everyone. We've also got this massively high borrowing costs in the country. We're at a 38-year high, which means we're paying even more interest on our borrowing, more than basket cake countries like Greece. That means there's more money that we pay in tax to pay off the debt that isn't going to things like schools and defence.
Yes, that's right. I mean, let's hope it's her last budget. I think you're right. I think it very likely will be.
Is who follows going to be any better?
No, obviously not, because they don't understand how a modern free market economy works. I mean, it is possible that the gilt yield increase will produce a financial crisis. I don't think it's very likely in itself, because we issue our own currency, we can always print. That comes with massive downsides.
No one's going to be worried that we're going to default on our debts.
I think it's unlikely. You might get market contagion, to the equity market, currency markets, mortgage markets, that sort of thing. That's a problem. But I think it's best to look at gilts as like a kind of speedometer or the warning light in the car. There's a sign something is going wrong.
And it's not about the money men. It's just the markets don't trust where our economy is going. They look at the actual stats. They don't put politics into it. They just want to know, is our economy in a good shape? And their answer is no.
That's right. They don't trust the conduct of economic policy. They can see there's going to be a need for more borrowing because we can't control the spending. They can see we're getting in this doom loop of more taxes that represses the economy and makes the whole thing worse. And they don't believe this government.
Everyone.
They don't believe this government can get out of it. And that's what this is telling
And I
us.
share their view.
I do.
They can get out of it. They just don't want to get out of it because they genuinely think that higher taxes and higher spending is the answer.
That's right. All their beliefs are that they don't understand that lower spending, lower taxes, less regulation are the only way to produce prosperity.
And for all.
Yes, absolutely, for everybody.
Yeah.
But of course, if they had to acknowledge that, then what would be the point of a Labour government? So that's why
there's a question for you. What would be the point of a Labour government? Lord Frost, absolute pleasure to have you, and Conservative peer, Lord Frost. Thank you for joining us.